Welcome back. All hour long, we are sharing the healing power of family and love and how they can forge our strength, not only when things are going great, but especially when things are not going well. Now, from the outside looking in, my next guest seemed to have it all. She was a wife, a mom, and a beloved pastor of a mega church right outside of Baltimore. Irene Rollins and her husband, Pastor Jimmy Rollins, were loved and celebrated for guiding their church congregation to the best versions of themselves. But what her church community did not know was that Irene was not living what she preached. Irene was hiding a secret, and she said that she was in such deep shame that she would have rather died than have her hidden life found out. Irene was addicted to alcohol, and behind the scenes of the pulpit and her portrayals of perfection, her life, she says, was in chaos. And now she's written about it in a new book, Reframe Your Shame, Experience Freedom from What Holds You Back. She says in her book, I was falling apart on the inside. I didn't have it all together. I felt like a fake, but I was exhausted trying to be there for everyone else while I struggled with the stress of pretending my life was perfect. Almost 7 years sober, Irene has turned her pain into purpose, helping others by sharing her journey of faith, resilience, and recovery. Please welcome to the TAM Fam, Irene Rollins. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me. Wow, thank you so much for joining us. I wrote you a letter and I said, you know, so many people will be able to be inspired and find their forward by reading your book. What we both know, Irene, is that we have to start, though, with how it happened, where it happened. Take me to when you recognized that you had a substance or alcohol abuse problem.
See, that's the tricky part. I did not ever get to a point where I felt I understood what was happening until I got sober.
Wow.
So it wasn't until
So when you're in the throes of it, you were not aware?
Not aware at all. I had never met anybody who had said, I'm an alcoholic. Right. I had no framework around it, so I didn't know what it looked like. Was it the guy under the bridge with the brown paper bag? Just didn't think it applied to me. So when my husband was like really giving me the ultimatum to go get help, like if you don't go get help and just recover from what I think is an addiction, and I just did not believe it was, he was gonna leave.
But over the time, you were hiding it. So you recognized there was something that you needed to hide, but you didn't know it was an addiction.
Correct. Yes. So I just felt shame about the fact that I was a pastor and a leader and a mom, and I knew what the Bible said about overconsumption of alcohol, but I just couldn't get past thinking how I was bad, because that's what shame does. It speaks to me and says, I am bad and I'm broken and that I am unfixable. So the very gospel that says I'm forgiven and freed, I didn't believe it for myself. Wow. And so to your point, to the question where you asked, when did I ever realize it? It was day 38 in rehab.
Day 38 in rehab?
Day 38.
When you look back at it, and the book talks about it and you've been open about it, there was a time where you were hiding alcohol in water bottles?
Yeah. So here's the deal. My husband was pressuring me to stop drinking so much. I was drinking to blackout on weekends, in the evenings, never out in public, just at home.
So you would go home, your children, the family's there, and you would start drinking?
Yes. Cooking dinner, glass of wine here, glass of wine there. And then what I would do is drink a bottle before dinner while I was cooking, and then maybe a bottle after dinner. And when that wasn't enough, then it escalated to hiding vodka in water bottles, because my husband was arguing with me all the time. Like, Irene, you're overdoing it. I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
It's not a big deal.
How was it impacting, for example, you know, you said you would black out weekends, and then you got to go to church on Sunday.
Yes.
And you got to talk to people about their trials and tribulations and faith and resilience, and you'd been drinking the whole weekend before.
Yes. So that period of time when I was not sober, I hid. I came to church late and I left early. I was not on the stage.
Wow.
See, because I knew inside, I felt like I wasn't worthy enough to get up on that stage.
What about your children? Were they aware? Did they see mom black out?
Yes.
They did?
Unfortunately, that's one of my biggest regrets, that our family has had to heal from is just the fact that they felt unsafe around me because my husband would go away and I would drink to blackout and I'd pass out like on the bathroom floor per se. And they'd come in there and they're like, what's wrong with mom? And they're calling their dad, like, what do we do with her? And none of us understood alcoholism and that I couldn't stop on my own, that it had become a disease. So that our dysfunction was our normal. So they were, when I was going to rehab, they were like, Mommy, go. You need to go to rehab. They were like, what's rehab?
I didn't know.
Like, what is it for? Like, why does mom need to go?
But they knew mom might come back better.
Yes. So once we explained it, it was the first conversations that they had ever heard of, like, alcoholism can happen to anyone.
Right. Coming up, what happened when Irene faced her church and told them about her secret struggle with alcohol. More after the break. Welcome back. We've been talking with Irene Rollins, the pastor, who has opened up in her new book about drowning in shame as she hid an alcohol addiction, keeping it from many friends and the congregation in which she and her husband helmed in Baltimore area. In her new book, you wrote about rehab. And something that struck me was this moment, Irene, with your daughter. You said that your children saw you pass out drunk, and your husband asked you, how can you choose alcohol over me, over our children?
That was a very painful moment because in my crazy mind, so literally alcohol had hijacked my mind. I wasn't anymore valuing the things that were most important to me. I wanted to have this substance. I was chasing it. Every cell in my body had to have it. And it was beyond my ability. I was powerless. Completely powerless.
Then
over
how did you
alcohol.
find your power?
Found my power by first admitting that I had a problem.
Yeah.
And it took me 38 days, kicking and screaming all the way to rehab. I never wanted to go to rehab. But I finally, because of the ultimatum, I went, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was the foundation that I built the rest of my life on.
Wow.
I realized that I had a problem, but there was a way to get out of it with a higher power, which is my God, and working a program of recovery.
You talk about in the book having to then face the congregation and tell them, and I think we have it the day that you went in, and there you are speaking to members of the church.
I had to accept that God could still use me, could still use my story, that he could use all of that yuck for good. So today, I'm standing here before you, a grateful alcoholic.
I see a confident person. I see you commanding the room. But what was going on inside?
My husband had been wanting me to share with the congregation what we had been through, but I was not confident until I was at a place in my journey, 2 years, 3 months sober, where I had credibility behind me. I had done the work, and I knew I was going to stay sober. And then I literally stood up in front of the congregation for the first time as myself.
What did you see in their eyes? Look, because I always think, when I come out and I see the Tam fam, I look at their eyes. I'm looking at them, and I see myself through their eyes. What did you see looking back at you from that audience?
Empathy.
Wow.
Me too. I can't believe she's talking about this and saying it out loud. Wow. I did not know pastors and leaders did that. We normalized recovery in our church, and our church grew. Wow. So many people got helped, got healed, set free.
Well, we never expect our pain and our shame to help others, but as you talk about in the book, it freed you, but it's freed so many other people.
Yeah.
How are the kids now?
We are better than we were before. Like, we've never been better. As a family, we healed together.
You healed together. Irene's book, Reframe Your Shame, is out now. It is a powerful story, and Tam Fam in the audience today, you get a chance to read it for yourselves. You're all going home with a copy. Irene, thank you so much. Congratulations on the book, on the sobriety. Give my love to the kids.
Yeah.
Today's openness is going to encourage a lot of people. And please know, if you are dealing with a substance abuse issue, you are not alone.